In today's episode, Mike and I talk about how we got surprised at birthday parties in our past, and also, most importantly, how to open the dance floor. And then it really gets sideways, and we even talk about how we close the dance floor. So tune in.
Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
Welcome, everybody, to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
Yeah, this is Joe Bunn.
What's going on, Joe? How are you?
I'm good, man. We're back.
Good. We should probably mention we are pre-recording this in mid-May, and it's going to launch, the end of May. So because I am away, Kelly, my wife and I are in Iceland. And so we had to pre-record a bunch. Thank you for hating me. and we should mention that just because if there is anything major, topical, especially in the world of music or DJing that happens in the next 2 weeks that Joe and I don't touch on, it's not that we're
blowing it off.
Yeah, exactly, or ignoring. It's just that we don't know. We can't predict the future. So do you want to talk about something that may happen topically? Do you want to play like guess the next celebrity who's going to pass away?
I think the Billboard Music Awards or something are this weekend, so somebody's going to do something.
Oh well, that happened.
There.
Oh, okay. So. Well, so that will have happened. It's so confusing.
Yeah,
it's like those future movies where you go back in the past. Or I always get confused.
I get
about the
so
time.
confused in those things.
So that will have happened by the time this goes live, but it hasn't happened yet.
Correct.
Okay. So let's make a prediction. What crazy thing happened at the Billboard Music? Who was the best performance?
I don't even know who's performing, but if Kanye shows up, there will be some kind of ridiculousess.
Yeah,
you can guarantee that.
Should we talk about Kanye's comments?
No, let's don't.
No. You'd rather avoid that. Okay.
I hate the political stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, but I'm excited for your trip, man.
Kelly and I are psyched about it. As we record this, we are days away from getting on a plane, and we're super excited. Yeah.
All right, let's get it.
Hopefully we haven't pissed people off with too many social media posts and pictures.
Right.
Hopefully I still have a few people who still are connected.
Still following you, right?
Facebook, Instagram. All right. So topic of the week, and I think this is a great one. I've been doing a lot of microphone workshops lately.
Oh, I saw the picture last night.
A couple really good ones. That's our own. I just, and you've heard me talk about this on the podcast down here in the basement. I've been working with Nick and Daniel and David since January. And just last night we had our last class and I took them out for dinner and they are now officially graduates and
it looks like the picture like a male model convention over there.
Yeah. Three good looking guys,
man. What is going on over there?
Yeah. Good looking guys and talented and very smooth MCs. So I think I've got Elite Entertainment needed an influx of talent, and this was it. And this kind of goes back. This is not the topic of the week, but this is something you hear me talk about all the time. Always be looking for talent.
Sorry,
because you never know.
Well, I will say this, Mike, and I have to agree with you 100%. Mike's comment on the picture, if you haven't seen it, go back, when this records, it'll be a couple of weeks ago post, way before the bikini pictures in hot springs and all that, him in a Speedo and everything. But go back, and it's he and a few guys having celebratory beers at a local place in his town. And the comment was, I believe, and I told these guys that they are now trained to the point that they are 90%, wait. What is it? Now I got to look it up.
I said that they are more prepared to DJ. I believe that was my line.
Than 90%.
And I know I was probably going to upset a lot of DJs. As I told him this evening, I believe in my heart of hearts that they are more prepared to DJ than 90% of the DJs already working in our industry. That's how thorough my training program is.
And I believe that. But you know what?
I believe that too. That's not just something I say.
Me
I
neither.
believe that.
I didn't.
Now that probably says as much about the state of our industry as it does about how thorough my training program is. That there are a lot of people that are out there with absolutely zero training and zero guidance that have maybe watched one or two videos on YouTube and are out there,
doing weddings, like
doing
scary.
weddings. And I was going to say ruining weddings.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I think that comment, some people might disagree with 90%, but I know that these guys are thoroughly prepared. And listen, my reputation's too important to put it on the line for not that. And that's why
I couldn't have agreed more. Like, I didn't think the statement was egotistical or not factual. I was like, he's probably spot on with that number. Like,
right.
Anyway, but it does have to do with today's topic because we're talking about what, Mike? You're the host of this show.
Yeah, so we're talking about best ways to open the dance floor, open events, whether it's emceeing or songs that you play. And yeah, to go back to the fact that this is something we focus on here in my basement and training. I focused on with these three gentlemen all winter. And I've been hired by a number of companies to do microphone workshops, and that's something I focus on with them as well.
Yeah.
After bridal party introductions, we talk about opening up for non-weddings, which I think is essential when you're doing a non-wedding, having some kind of opening. And then also the critical songs that we play to open the dance floor, whether it's a slow song, whether it's a fast song, whether, it's a combination of the two, open with a slow, then do a fast. So I think these are critical decisions that we make because we go back to that cliche that we hear all the time. You only have one chance to make a first impression. Is that the
like that.
Yeah. So I think it's critical. How you open is very essential. So let's talk about a few of those topics.
Sure.
When you do a non-wedding, Joe, what do you do as an opener? Let's say you're hired to do a company holiday party or a birthday party or something like that. What is your opening? What do you say? What do you do? What do you drop? What's your...
This is assuming, Mike, that I've kind of played like a run of like cocktail music and stuff
yeah,
like
let's
that.
Assume
right?
that.
Yeah,
let's
okay.
assume.
Yeah. So normally I can feel it out. And again, if it was a private party or something like that, most of the time we get hired for 3 hours, 4 tops. Usually 3 hours for a private party, 8 to 11, something like that. Usually after, like I say, it was a birthday party. They've let people go to dinner and then show up for this thing. And I'll usually keep it pretty low key from, let's say, 8 to 9. Let everybody get there, have their first drink, play some cocktail music, usually a bit of a different sector if it was a corporate event or a birthday than I would for weddings. Less Rat Pack, less romance, more cool guy, hipster, vibe mixed with like a Hall & Oates kind of thing. But I would honestly say, something on the mic like, hey, guys, we've given everybody a chance to get here and get loosened up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and get these lights turned down, and I'll look at, like, the host, or I'll walk over and personally turn them down, and I'm going to turn on my lights, and we're going to get this party started. And then it would all be based on demographic. Like, if I was doing a 30-year-old party, I would go to a Bruno Mars or something. Again, not super aggressive, something on the radio. It's not going to be, the hot Migos track or something like that. I mean, I'm probably going to work towards that, but it's not going to be my opener. If it was older guests, 50, 60, 70-year-old, I would probably still go to my Motown bag, you know what I mean, or my 70s bag,
right?
Or 80s bag. It really is going to depend on that first hour. And you and I have talked about this, whether it's in person or at the workshop or on this podcast, about reading the room from the minute people walk in. Who's tapping their toes, how old are they, who's going to be the party leaders, the motivators. It's all psychology, and it all, unfortunately, you can't. This is one of the things that it is hard to teach to DJs is it's experience. You and I have been doing this so long that we can look at the crowd and listen. Am I wrong 1 out of 100 and go, oh, this is going to end early, and the next thing it's a bunch of engineers out on the dance floor losing their minds. Right. Yeah, but normally I can pick what's going on.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why whenever I hear a DJ say, I always open with so-and-so. I open every party with blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how is that possible? How could you possibly have one song and one rap that always works at every party? You have to. That is one of the arts of being a DJ, is reading the room and the demographics and adjusting on the fly.
100%.
I mean, there are plenty of times where I have an opening song in mind.
Me too.
And then 2 minutes beforehand, I go, no, you know what will work better? Because I read something in the room, or I felt the vibe or something.
I've changed it based on, like, somebody gave a toast and mentioned, like, Bon Jovi.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit, I can change this and blow people's minds right now.
Right. So I think that's a great opener. I like the fact that you said you get out there and adjust the lights or whatever. that's one of the things I focus, even when you're working by yourself, and I know you work usually by yourself, you can step out in front of the gear and welcome everybody and then walk back and hit that first song. And I think even just doing that makes a great first impression. It helps get everybody's attention. So that's something I teach with my staff and I teach at microphone workshops. I'll give you one that I do. First of all, I love doing surprise parties.
Yeah.
I love on a personal note, I love planning surprise parties. I've had surprise parties planned for me twice in my life.
Dang.
It's been a thrill to walk into a room that I wasn't expecting and have it filled with loved ones.
And they got you twice?
Exactly, twice.
Wow.
First time somebody blew it right before when I was turning 21. I was at work. I was working at the church, and I was going home. And as I was locking up the church, one of the priests said, "Hey, have a good time at your party tonight." And I was like, "What?" And then as I'm walking home, I'm like, "Oh." So he kind of blew it. But when I turned, was it my 30th? I guess or 25. I guess I was fooled.
Yeah.
So I've 1 and 1. But either way, I think it's a great thing to do for a loved one, to plan a surprise. And as a DJ, I love DJing surprise parties. So my advice to anyone who does a surprise party, first of all, as soon as the guest of honor walks in, everybody yells surprise. It does not matter what you play in that moment. A lot of people go, well, I'm going to play the guest of honor's favorite song. Don't waste it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Because, and again, I've been on the receiving end of it. You are so blown away. If you are truly surprised, you're so blown away that you're not even listening to what the DJ is playing.
Right.
So you're going to walk around for 15, 20 minutes saying hello to everybody, thanking people for coming. Just go, as a DJ, just go right back to background music. You've been playing cocktail music until he arrived, he or she. Everybody yells surprise, go right back to playing background music. But like you said, at some point you're reading the room. Now it's time to open things up. And what I'll do is I'll walk out on the dance floor. I'll approach the guest of honor. And let's say it's your birthday party here, Joe. I'll say, welcome everybody to Joe's birthday party. Joe, we're all dying to know the answer to this question. Scale of 1 to 10, how surprised were you?
I love that.
And it's a great way. And listen, even if somebody had asked me that when my 21st, when the person, I still would have said 10 because you don't want to insult your love. And so then you can get a big round of applause for the people who plan this because, again, I've not only had these planned for me, but I've planned them. Kelly and I just did this for her mom. And planning a surprise party takes a lot of lying and a lot of, trying to remember what story you've told her and avoid this. So it takes a lot of planning besides party planning, which is always, time intensive. It also takes a lot of lying and manipulating. So you've got all that. So it's a great relief to hear, oh, we got him. He was surprised. So I always start with that. Joe, tell me scale of 1 to 10. How surprised were you? You're going to say 10. We're going to round of applause. And then I'll usually say, I've talked to your loved ones who planned this party, and they told me this is your favorite artist or your favorite song, so we're going to open up the dance floor for that. And then again, it gets personalized to the guest of honor. If you were doing my party, you'd open up with a Prince song, and we'd hopefully pack the dance floor from there. So that's you. As far as non-weddings go, if it's a surprise party, that's a great one to do.
I got a quick anecdote here. I've just remembered the only time that I was surprised, and I think I would have been 25. I think I was living down in Wilmington. No clue. My girlfriend organized a surprise party at our house, and I was living with a couple other guys. This dumpy house. We thought it was so cool. And I remember walking in, and it was like a narrow hallway, and then it opened up into this big open room, and then it had that kind of second floor where you could look over the top. And as soon as I opened the door to walk in, everybody's in the room, but they're shifted over to the right, so you couldn't see anybody. And I walk in, and I look down, and I go, man, who tracked dog shit all over the carpet? And then everybody goes, surprise! And I was like, man, I felt like the biggest ass. Because, it was just one of those dragged turd marks right across the carpet. Right. And that's the first thing I scream out when I walk in. And then everybody screams, surprise! I was like, oh, man. They got me, though.
I'll tell you a quick one as long as we're telling personal stories. So my 25th, I'm remembering now, it was my 25th, and I was dating a girl at the time, and she said, what do you want to do for your 25th? And we had a favorite restaurant that we were going to at the time. So I said, let's have dinner there.
Yeah.
So great. So before dinner, we went to a bar to have a drink, and it was the night, I would have to look it up, when did I turn 25, but it was the night of a big boxing match. I don't know which one it was, but It's 27 years ago, so who knows? It was probably a Tyson fight. And at some point, they went around the bar and they said, "Look, we're going to start charging at the door for the fight." But there was only like 10 or 12 people, so we're going to grandfather you guys in. You can stay.
Nice.
So I say to the girl I'm dating, I say, "Well, you know what? Why don't forget dinner? Let's just stay here. Let's just watch the fight." And she's like, "But I thought you wanted to go to dinner at this restaurant." I'm like, "Well, I said that, but now let's."
It's my birthday.
And it's my birthday. You said I could, and she was like, "No, we got to go to dinner." So I'm being a dick about it. And then we walk into this restaurant. There's, it's filled with my family and friends, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know." I'm thinking to myself, why is she insisting on going to this restaurant? She told me we could do it, so that's my surprise party.
Awesome.
Yeah. Which it just goes back to the point. It's not easy to plan. All right, so slow song.
And the fact that we're both control freaks. Go ahead.
Exactly. Slow song, fast song. What's better to open with?
Oh, me, it's always going to be. I don't want to say fast because you call My Girl slow, right?
I do.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll open with My Girl, which is
I know we invite people to comment all the time on our. I would be interested in that comment. Sure. Just comment wherever you're listening to this. Just comment. My Girl. Just write slow
Temptations,
or fast. Like
what?
Temptations, My Girl. Is that a slow song or a fast song?
It's more mid-tempo.
I'd be interested. But you call it a fast song.
I do because people shag to it here.
Okay.
Not shag. Right. Please, if you're listening in Europe.
I have a different visual when I hear that.
Please. If you're listening in Europe, calm down. People are not shagging literally. They're doing a dance to My Girl.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's a typical. And I know we just said we don't always open with the same thing all the time, but that could be a typical.
That could be a strong wedding opener for me because it is, let's say usually the last thing that I do before I open the dance floor here in the South is the mother-son dance.
Okay.
So literally last notes of that song are ringing out. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mike and his mom, blah, blah, blah. Clap, clap, clap. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn the lights down and turn this bitch up. I don't say that. I made that up just now.
Turn this bitch up. Time to shag.
Time to shag. Anyway, and I would drop boom, 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 but because it's not too aggressive and it gets people out there. Again, to me, it's not a slow song. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there's.
Do you open with a slow song sometimes?
A lot, all the time.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I opened up with at a wedding more often than not. It's a slow song. Mm-hmm. At a wedding, it's more often than not. Can't Help Falling in Love.
Really?
At Last.
That's interesting.
I dusted off recently. I think I've talked about this on social media. Sea of Love by the Honey Drippers.
Yeah.
Unchained Melody.
I do want to
dust these off, and I think
want to make this point though. That though is after you've already had a dance set somewhere pre-dinner.
No, this is. I know we've gone through timeline.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, I don't. But this is intros, first dance, toast, and then they sit for first course, whether it's salad or pasta or whatever it is. So this is the first time I'm opening from a cold dance.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant coming into your 2-hour end.
Now, sometimes it's not. And a lot of times it's because I played a mid-tempo song and got people up. Mm-hmm. I like to drop a mid-tempo song. Like if they're eating salad and I do something like Signed, Sealed, Delivered or something like that, Africa, and I get a few people up, then I'm going, okay, I don't need a slow song here. Yeah. Then I'm thinking my first slow song is going to be at the tail end of this set, not to open the set. But if I drop that mid-tempo and I get nothing but people, snapping their fingers at the table, then more often than not, I'm going to walk out, open the dance floor, but open it with a slow song, invite the romantic couples up and try to build my dance floor from there. And then the next song after that is my first fast song of the night.
Yeah, the slowest tempo I would probably open with would again at a wedding would be a My Girl. I often would reach for Signed, Sealed, Delivered as my opener. Excuse me. Respect, Aretha Franklin. It's usually something from that era of 1960 something.
Right.
And then and again, it's a simple MC over the, opening notes of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we all had a big dinner. I'll usually say something like that. Like, we all had a big dinner. We got to work that off. We're going to get everybody up and dancing now, or something like that. Like, it's just that little bit of encouragement is, you know what I mean? And the light thing helps. Like, if especially if we bring dance floor lights, like I want those
no doubt.
chandeliers.
People would rather dance in the dark or in darker, which is one of the reasons why daytime weddings especially daytime weddings in rooms that have tons of windows are difficult because you can't turn it down.
You can't hide. You can't hide from how bad of a white person dancing you are.
Right, exactly. Right.
There's not many Timberlakes in the world. Let's be honest.
So as far as that, if I open with that first dance, then if I open with a slow song, then that first upbeat dance is, you named a few that work, respect.
Sure.
I've opened up with Billie Jean. I've opened up with Uptown Funk. I've opened with.
Wow, that's a great one.
If the bride and groom have a favorite artist, a lot of times, and that artist has a good song to open up with, I will open with that, and I'll say, this is for Joe and Ainsley, they love blah blah blah, so we're going to open up with this, that type of thing. A lot of times I will pull it from their request list. Our bride and groom asked for this song, so we thought we'd open up with it, that type of thing. So again, it goes back to, I hear DJs say, I always open with blah blah blah. Like, well, how is that possible, man? You're not reading the room then.
Right. No, it definitely changes week to week for me. And then, Mike, are you what I call decade jumping? Are you working? And again, I'm speaking from generality of the bride is 27 to 33 years old, and it's that kind of a scene. A young bride. Are you kind of going like 60s transitions to a couple of the 70s jams, like I like the more the funk stuff, the Get Down on It's and the September, Earth, Wind and Fire, and then are you hitting a Prince or a MJ, and then you hit like a
if I do a solid 25-minute dance set, and again, now this is before dinner in our market. I know it's after dinner in your market, but I would love it in that first 25 minutes to get to a couple of oldies, maybe some disco, and then maybe some newer stuff as well. I love it when I say newer, I know a song like Dynamite is probably 10 years old now, but I still consider that more modern than Run Around Sue.
Sure.
But I'd love to touch on a bunch of different decades in that first dance set, just to let everybody in the room know you're included. Old people, you're included.
So, well, let me skip then towards the end of the night, and I know that we've jumped off the topic of how to open the dance floor, but look, I just want to hear like this last hour. Are you at that point again? I'm making the assumption of this bride is in her 20s or 30s, and you've crossed over into Turn Down for What, or All I Do Is Win, or Get Low, Lil Jon. Like you've turned that corner, and then Mother of the Bride. Okay, somebody VIP walks up and goes, I want to hear Oh What a Night, Frankie Valli.
I can do that.
Are you?
Well, especially Oh What a Night. If I'm down in the hip hop BPMs, Oh What a Night is perfect.
Let me change it. Celebration or YMCA. Let me make it more like 126, 126.
First of all, I don't like doing audience participation in the last hour. So
I'm giving shitty examples.
YMCA.
I guess,
you know what?
I guess
it's the Mother of the Bride and
gotta make it work.
And right? YMCA is not on their no list. I probably would. I would probably work it in. Yeah. Yeah.
What if it's Joe Random and he wants to go all the way back to 1965, but you're in 2018?
Joe Random does not get that request. Sorry.
Right.
Mother of the Bride gets that request. Maid of Honor might get that request.
Right.
Bride and groom definitely get that request.
Right.
Joe Random. And I'll even say to him, no, I won't tell him that you don't mean anything to the party. That's not where you're. But I'll say this all the time.
I want to hear exactly what you want to say. Like, I'm Joe Random.
I wish you had asked me earlier.
Okay.
I would have loved to have played that song. Comment. I wish you would. I think I've told this story on this podcast, but years ago I had a guy come up to me, and we've all had this. He's looking at my gear, he's looking at me, and he goes, I used to DJ.
Yes.
And I go, really? And this is last half hour, dance floor is like out here.
Madness, yeah.
And he goes, you got any Sam Cooke? And I go, dude, if you used to DJ, then you would know this is not the time for Sam Cooke.
Right.
And he went, you know what? You're right, man. I'm sorry. I should have asked for that earlier. And he walked away.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you just have to tell people, man,
the ship has sailed.
I would have loved to have gotten to that song. I've been here for 5 hours. Why didn't you ask me for that earlier? I could have played it earlier. I could have played it coming out of dinner. I could have played it during cake cutting.
It's just common sense at that point.
But why would you ask me for something like that when I've got the dance floor
full throttle, like girls are dropping it down, like twerking, like it's out of control.
But again, I just had it recently where the Mother of the Bride walked up to me with that scenario last half hour. And she goes, are you playing any Grateful Dead tonight? And I said, it's not on my list. And she goes, I asked my daughter to put it on the list. And I said, I'll do my best to get to it. And she said, I am the mother of the bride. And I said that in my rap. I said, ladies and gentlemen, whatever her name was, Frances just asked me for Grateful Dead. And I said, I'll do my best. And she reminded me she's the mother of the bride. And I went right into Shakedown Street or whatever I went into. And you know what?
Did it kill it?
It didn't kill it. I mean, it definitely changed the direction of the dance floor.
Sure.
But I think it also made her feel great that I was letting her know, yeah, you know what? You're right. I forgot it for a split second. Then I just took a subtle reminder. You are extremely important.
You're right.
I should honor that request, and I did. So I think, and that's one of the things about programming. Sometimes we're set in our ways and we know exactly where we want to go. But if a VIP gives a request, and I know there are DJs that would ignore that. I don't care who it comes from. I'm locked in. I don't care if the bride wants to hear something at this point. I'm locked in. I've just never had that mentality. I'm gonna play what a VIP wants.
Well, man, I mean, I think there's this whole, movement among certain DJs that I'm an artist and I'm not going to listen to anything and I'm going to play what I want. And I just, that mentality ain't going to fly at Bunn DJ Company, and I don't think it's going to fly at Elite either.
It's not going to fly at Elite at all. And the only thing I say to those DJs is, I think it's fine if that's your mentality, but you better market yourself that way. Do not market yourself as customer service and I work for you and I do everything that you want to do, because if that's not your then market yourself. Just say, look, I'm the expert. When you book with me, you're in good hands. You don't have to worry about anything. Give me your wedding song. The rest of the night is up to me. If that's your philosophy, I think just be honest up front. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not the way I feel about it.
Cool, Mike. Anything else to add? I think it's a good episode.
Yeah, real quick. So while we're on the subject of opening, and I think this goes into building our dance sets, this is something I shared at Midwest DJs Live, and it was one of those things that I put into my seminar and didn't really think much of it, but somebody complimented this comment afterwards and said, man, you made me rethink how I build my sets. The comment that I made in my seminar, Midwest DJs Live, is that every set should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's like a good story. When you build your set, you start with something that's going to hook people and catch people onto the dance floor. And the analogy that I gave at that point is, when I read a novel, I love thrillers and, whodunits and page turners, if you will. And my first wife, who I was married to 20 years ago, said to me one day, she asked me, do you ever read a book where there's not a dead guy on page one? And I said, you know what, Lauren, I don't think I do. And it's the same type. And so I drew that analogy. When you build a set, what's your dead guy on page one opening song? It needs to be a song that draws people to the dance floor, that has a hook, that has a catch, that's going to get, and then the rest of the set needs to make sense. And then it needs the climax at the end. So a lot of times when I go into my dance set, I know what I'm opening with. I know what I ideally want to close with. And then it's a matter of telling the story from A to Z, and how you tell that story is up to you. And
transcending like all generations. Like you want it to be like all encompassing if you can.
Well, there are times where you want to, and then there are times where you say, look, I'm doing a hip hop set here. Or I'm doing a new music set, or I'm doing an 80s set, in which case it doesn't have to
boy band
bounce
set.
Around. Exactly, right. But even in a boy band set, it should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You have to know how you're starting, how you're getting people on the dance floor, where you're going from there, and where you're peaking. So I think so we had a technical glitch there. I'm not sure exactly where it knocked me out, but the point I was making, that when you build your sets, I think it really helps if you think of them in terms of beginning, middle, end, and where you're going to start, how you build to it, and then where you peak. I just think that's
storyteller.
Yeah, exactly. Be a storyteller when you build your sets.
Love it, Mike. Yeah, great episode, guys. As always, we appreciate y'all listening. If you're interested in the workshop, Mike, aren't we committed to Vegas next year?
We are committed to Vegas. I don't have the dates at my fingertips. March 15th and 16th, maybe.
I think that's
but you can get all the details at phdjworkshop.com. I guess we'll start promoting full throat in the upcoming months. But anybody who's interested, wants to be our first sign up, go ahead and do that.
Absolutely.
Check it out and join us. Of course, join us at Mobile Beat. I know there's going to be a big announcement about my involvement at Mobile Beat coming up soon. I don't want to preempt it, but I definitely will be speaking there, and hopefully you will too. I'd love to land a spot. But we are definitely doing our workshop right after the content ends at Mobile Beat.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. Subscribe, and please leave us a review on iTunes if you get a minute. And keep on listening. We appreciate
you guys. Next week we'll be back live.
That's right. Thanks again, guys.